Right now, you are being controlled, not by a person, not by a government, not by a law, by a machine so common, so ordinary that you stopped noticing it years ago. It is on your wall. It is on your wrist. It glows from every screen you own. And every alarm, every deadline, every moment of panic in your life traces back to it, the clock. But here is the thing nobody tells you. Before the clock existed, humans were free. And then, one invention changed everything. Not just how we measured time, how we felt it, how we lived it, how we lost it. This is the story of the machine that conquered humanity. And it starts not with a genius, but with a problem nobody knew how to solve. Imagine waking up with no alarm, no schedule, no notification telling you you're already late. For most of human history, that was just called morning. People woke with the sun, ate when hungry, slept when the sky went dark. Time wasn't a number, it was a feeling. The heat of midday on your skin, the color of dusk, the sound of birds before dawn. The world itself told you where you were, and it was always, roughly, enough. But humans are restless, and one question kept returning across every civilization, every desert, every river valley. When exactly? When exactly do the armies move? When exactly does the ceremony begin? When exactly do the crops need planting? Around sunrise works for a nap, it doesn't work for an empire. And so the chase began. Not in a laboratory, not with tools or blueprints. It began with someone standing in the Egyptian sun, staring at the ground, and noticing that a shadow was moving. That shadow was about to become the first clock the world had ever seen. It started with a murder, not a real one. A shadow's. Somewhere in ancient Egypt, around 3,500 years ago, a priest noticed something that everyone else had ignored their entire lives. When the sun rose, a stone pillar cast a long shadow pointing west. By midday, the shadow had shrunk, pulled back under the pillar like something ashamed. By evening, it stretched long again, this time pointing east. It moved every single day, the same way, without fail. The Egyptians didn't just notice this, they weaponized it. They built massive stone obelisks, some over 70 feet tall, positioned with mathematical precision. As the sun moved, the shadows swept across marked points on the ground. They called these points hours, 12 of them for daylight, 12 for night. The world's first clock was not a machine, it was just a shadow doing what shadows do, and a civilization paying close enough attention to read it. For centuries, this was enough, until it wasn't. Because here is the flaw no one could fix. The sun disappears, clouds come, night falls, and a shadow with nothing to cast it is useless. The Egyptian calendar worked beautifully in the desert sun, but the moment darkness came, civilization went blind. So they turned to water. The clepsydra, the water clock, was born in Egypt and perfected in Greece. The idea was almost insultingly simple. A clay vessel with a pinhole at the bottom. Water dripped through at a steady rate, and as the level dropped, it passed carved markings on the inside wall, each marking 1 hour gone. The Greeks took it further. In Athens, the courts used clepsydras to time legal arguments. Lawyers had exactly one vessel of water to make their case. When it emptied, they sat down. No exceptions. For the first time in history, time wasn't just observed, it was enforced. You could feel the whole room watching the water drop, lawyers speaking faster, choosing words sharply, knowing the vessel didn't care how important their point was. But water lied. Cold temperatures made it sluggish. Heat made it rush. The clock that was supposed to bring precision kept drifting with the weather. So civilizations turned to something that didn't care about temperature, something that consumed itself at a steady, reliable rate: fire. In medieval China, monks burned coiled incense ropes that took exactly 12 hours to smolder from one end to the other. Knots tied at intervals marked each passing hour. The genius was sensory. You didn't need to look at this clock, you could smell it. As the incense burned lower, the scent shifted, deepened, changed character. Time had a fragrance. The night grew older, and the air itself told you so. Europeans used candles, marked with rings, each ring 1 hour apart. Placed in a windless room, a candle became precise enough to trust. 3 civilizations, 3 completely different materials, all chasing the same impossible thing, a way to hold time still long enough to read its face. None of them fully succeeded. The sun hid, the water drifted, the fire flickered. What they needed wasn't found in nature at all. It had to be built, piece by piece, gear by gear, in the cold stone silence of a place nobody expected to change the world, a monastery. It is the year 1000. Europe is dark and cold and deeply, obsessively religious. In monasteries across the continent, monks lived by a brutal schedule. Pray at midnight, pray at 3 a.m., pray at dawn, pray at noon, pray at 3, pray at sunset, pray before bed, 7 times a day, every day, for the rest of their lives. Miss a prayer, and you answered to God. The problem was, who wakes up at midnight to ring the bell? Who decides when midnight is? A monk would lie awake staring at the dark ceiling, counting heartbeats, trying to feel when it was time. Sometimes they overslept. Sometimes the bell rang at 2 a.m., sometimes at 11. God, presumably, noticed. This was the problem that broke open history. Somewhere in the monasteries of medieval Europe, no one knows exactly where, no one knows exactly when, someone built the first mechanical clock. It had no face, no hands, no numbers. It had only one job: to ring a bell at the right moment. It was called an escapement mechanism, a gear wheel turning under the weight of a hanging stone, and a small device, the escapement, that caught the wheel, held it, released it, caught it again. Tick, tick, tick. Each catch and release was perfectly even. The wheel could not rush, could not slow. It was controlled for the first time in history, not by nature, but by engineering. The bell rang, the monks woke. God, presumably, was satisfied. But nobody understood yet what they had actually built. They thought they had made a prayer machine, a tool for devotion, something humble and sacred locked inside stone walls, ringing into empty courtyards before dawn. They had actually built a weapon, and in a few generations, it would escape the monasteries, move into the city squares, climb the towers, and begin to do something that no king, no army, no religion had ever fully managed to do before. It would teach the world to obey. For the first 100 years, the mechanical clock stayed exactly where it was born, inside the monastery, a sacred object, a tool of God. It rang the hours for monks and monks alone. But then, sometime in the 1300s, cities started building them. Not for God, for business. The town clock went up in the center of the marketplace, on a tower, high enough for everyone to see, loud enough for everyone to hear. And the moment it did, something invisible shifted. Something that had been loose and human and flexible suddenly became rigid. Before the public clock, a merchant and a buyer would agree to meet in the morning. That was fine. Morning was generous. It had room in it. You could be a little early, a little late. The world bent around you. After the clock, the agreement changed. Not in the morning, 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock meant 9 o'clock, not 9-ish, not nearly 9, not when you finished your bread. 9 o'clock. For the first time in human history, being late was a moral failure. Time wasn't just something that passed, it was something you owed people, and if you wasted it, you were stealing. The church had always said God owned time. Now the merchants were saying they did. This was the first great battle of the clock, sacred time versus commercial time, and commerce won, as it almost always does. By the 1400s, mechanical clocks stood in the centers of cities across Europe. They were status symbols. A city with a clock tower was a city that meant business, a city that could be trusted, a city that was modern. The clock had climbed down from the altar and walked into the street, and ordinary people, for the first time, began organizing their entire lives around its face. But this was only the beginning. The clock still had one more transformation to make, one more leap. And when it made that leap, it didn't just change how people spent their time. It changed who owned their bodies. The year is 1760. England is changing faster than any country in human history. Factories are appearing, machines are roaring, and for the first time, work is no longer tied to sunlight or seasons or the natural rhythm of a human body. The factory runs when the factory owner decides it runs, day or night, summer or winter, and the clock, for the first time, becomes a weapon. Before the Industrial Revolution, a farmer worked hard, yes, but he decided when. He rested in the heat of noon. He took Sundays slowly. He followed the pulse of the land. His time was, in some rough and imperfect way, his own. Inside the factory, that ended. The factory whistle blew at 5 in the morning, and that was not a suggestion, it was an order. Workers, many of them children, walked miles in the dark to be at their machines before the bell. If they were late, money was docked from their wages. If they were late again, they were out. The clock on the factory wall wasn't showing them the time, it was showing them who was in charge. Factory owners did something extraordinary and ruthless. They started manipulating the clocks themselves. There are documented accounts of factory owners tampering with the clocks, slowing them down during working hours so the day felt longer, speeding them up at lunchtime so the break felt shorter. Workers had no watches of their own. They had no way to check. They were entirely at the mercy of the face on the wall. Time had become a tool of control, not divine control, human control, employer control. This is when the relationship between people and clocks turned dark. Because for the first time, time was not something you lived inside. It was something someone sold back to you in wages, per hour, per minute, per second. You were no longer a person moving through time. You were a unit of time, assigned a price. And then, as if the factory clock wasn't enough, someone invented the alarm clock. Imagine the audacity. Humans had spent thousands of years learning to wake gently, with sunlight, with birdsong, with the slow warmth of morning. And someone sat down, looked at that peaceful process and said, what if instead a violent noise just screamed at you? The alarm clock was not invented for your benefit. It was invented so factories could extract more hours from human bodies, so workers would have no excuse, so the machine could begin at precisely the right moment, with or without your cooperation. The snooze button didn't exist yet. There was just the bell, ringing, demanding, refusing to stop. Sound familiar? By the 1800s, every town in the world had its own local time. Noon meant when the sun was directly overhead. Your sun, your town. A city 30 miles east ran 12 minutes ahead. A city west ran behind. This was fine, until the railroads. Trains needed schedules, and schedules needed every station to agree on what time it was. But they didn't. Every station ran on its own local clock. A train leaving London at noon arrived at Bristol, which ran 10 minutes behind, at a time that made no mathematical sense. Schedules were a disaster. Crashes happened. Passengers missed connections. Companies lost fortunes. The solution was as bold as anything humans have ever agreed to, and almost nobody remembers it happened. On November 18, 1883, the railroads of North America simply declared that time would be standardized. The continent was divided into 4 zones. Every clock in every zone would read the same. Noon was no longer your noon. It was the railroad's noon. The sun no longer decided what time it was. Humans did. People were furious. Newspapers called it an abomination. Farmers said it violated the natural order. Ministers called it blasphemy, humans overriding God's Son. One editorial said simply, "Let us keep God's time." But the trains kept running, and everyone adjusted, because that is what humans do. We argue fiercely, and then we adapt completely, and then we forget we ever thought differently. Within a generation, no one questioned time zones. They were as natural as the seasons, as obvious as gravity. The clock had won, completely, totally, globally. By the 20th century, time was no longer something outside of you. It was inside you, woven into your nerves. You didn't need to look at a clock to feel it. You felt late before you even checked. You felt the weight of an hour wasted, the sting of a minute missed, the anxiety of a deadline approaching like a wave you cannot outrun. The machine that monks built in silence had colonized the human mind. This story began with a shadow on the ground, a stick in Egyptian sand, an attempt to catch something that cannot be caught. Humans never wanted to own time, they just wanted to see it. But somewhere between the monastery bell and the factory whistle, we stopped tracking time. We started serving it. Think about the last time you were completely unaware of the hour. No phone, no watch, just you, fully inside a moment. When was that? The clock gave us the modern world. Every system, every city, every convenience built on its tick. That part is real, but so is this. The moments that actually feel like living are always the ones where time disappears completely. Every civilization in history spent its greatest minds trying to measure time more precisely, and yet not one of them ever figured out how to make it feel like enough. The clock never solved that. It just made us too busy to notice. Whose time is it, really? That question is still waiting. It has been waiting since the first shadow moved across Egyptian sand. Right now, somewhere, an alarm is going off, and someone is already running late. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you in next one.